Hi guys, welcome to today's video. In this video I'm going to be talking about Rainbow Six Siege. Yes, it's been out for 3 years and I haven't actually played it in those 3 years. I've only recently brought it and I've been having a really good time on this game. So I wanted to make like a 3-year review video where I go over the pros and cons, the types of people I think will enjoy this game. I'm going to address some misconceptions that people might have about this game, and I'm going to give my overall opinion on whether you should buy this game. I'm not going to just simply describe the game and go over every feature. There's plenty of resources available for that. Instead, I'm going to be a bit more insightful, or at least try to be, and I'm going to review it. This is for players really who might want something different from the ever popular battle royale games on the market at the moment, like Fortnite or PUBG, and maybe something that's a bit more intense and serious than more casual FPS games like Call of Duty and Battlefield. I will eventually do some tips and tricks videos on this game from the perspective of a newer player. I am constantly going up the ranks at the moment. I started off in Copper 3, which for those of you who don't know is near enough the bottom of the ranking system, and I'm now at Silver 1, which is near Gold, which is quite a good place to be as a new player on the ranked system, so you've got all of that to come. If you do enjoy today's video, please drop me a like and also subscribe if you want to see more of this content in the future. The first thing I want to talk about is the game's originality. It has perfected a small tactical shooter which is small scale and thus promotes communication and teamwork. The content and detail of the maps and the availability of cameras and drones allows players to gather lots of information about their enemies before they begin the action phase. This is extremely unique to an FPS and unlike any game I've played before. The second thing I want to mention is that the game is constantly adding new content, including new operators and new maps, tweaks and balance changes, and even new fresh menu layouts, which is constantly keeping the game up to date. The developers actually have recently said that they've got a 10-year vision, and in that 10-year lifespan they want 100 operators. So guys, there is so much more to come from this game. It's also worth remembering that there are already 32 operators in the game. The operators that are in the game are diverse, and pretty much all of them, with the exception of maybe one, are viable. They all synergize with certain other operators in different ways, and they have interesting and useful gadgets, whether these be poisonous goo mines, throwable cameras, armor packs, concussion grenades, the ability to make yourself invisible to drones, tracking other players' footsteps, or even hacking other players' devices. The sheer amount of operators ensures that Rainbow Six is a diverse and complex experience in every single round. Every game brings a new set of challenges and opportunities for the defenders and attackers. The next point I have to make is absolutely crucial. The gunplay on this game is superb in terms of realism. It's quite unlike any other FPS I've played before. There is no aim assist, headshots are one-hit kills, and the guns for the most part seem balanced and enjoyable to use. Recoil is a very real problem in the game, and the different choices of scopes, grips and attachments make a genuine difference to how a gun reacts when fired. Aiming down sight, peeking, crosshair placement, and shooting through penetrable objects are all separate skills that really reward players when you master them. Perhaps the most rewarding aspect of this game comes from the ranked system, which can be frustrating and difficult at times, but it is also incredibly rewarding and gives you something to aim for. It also allows you to monitor your own progress, and ranked games feel genuinely intense and pressurizing because everybody is determined to win and increase their rank. This is perfect for a small tactical shooter where your every move is important. I do owe it to anyone watching this video to go over a couple of cons that come with playing this game. First of all, the casual game mode, on PlayStation 4 anyway, is a testing experience. to say the least. There's lots of team killing, trash talking, vote kicking for no apparent reason, and players constantly leaving and joining. However, that being said, this game is, for me, all about the ranked system. Casual play is a way for you to test out new guns, new operators, to try new strategies, and to increase your map knowledge. It's still annoying because sometimes you just want to jump in a casual game and get some serious practice in, and it's difficult when you've got people constantly talking rubbish or team killing, whatever it may be. However, it doesn't happen every game. I'm perhaps emphasising it a little bit too much. It just happens every few games and it can be annoying. But I think the developers are onto this and they are trying to do something about this. For example, anyone using hate speech now gets instantly banned from the game. So I think the developers are on the right tracks, and the community at large are trying to suggest new things to make casual sounds like a juxtaposition, but to make casual a bit more serious. The second problem is, well, quite plainly, hacking. And I'm going to talk about this just briefly now. I've not been subject to this personally, but I know it has been reported on before. I'm tempted to say it might be more of a problem for PC players. And the two main things are aimbotting and boosting. So aimbotting, fairly self-explanatory. When a player shoots bullets in your general direction and every single bullet hits, even if they're not actually aiming at your body, that's aimbotting. And boosting is perhaps even more of a problem. That's players who aren't very good or have low ranks, who are purposely teaming up with other players who might be hacking so that they can keep winning and keep increasing their rank. Now, the developers, again, they are aware of this, and they have started giving out temporary bans to players who are getting boosted by cheaters. Like I say, all this information really comes from watching streams, watching YouTubers. I'm not particularly informed on this because I haven't personally experienced it myself. So I don't really class it as a con, I more class it as something that I think someone who's buying this game should be aware of. Lastly, and there's no getting away from this, the game can be a harrowing experience for newer players and those who are used to casual games. If you aren't patient, this game can be really tough. Your early playing days will be filled with games where you don't kill anyone, where you keep losing, constantly dying, and that's just part and parcel of your early Siege career. Again, this could be a con, it depends what kind of person you are, but just be patient and you will eventually get better at the game, start to learn about the maps more, and start to learn about how to use the guns and the operators. Now I've gone over the pros and cons, I just quickly want to go over who I think might enjoy this game. So first of all, players who want a realistic tactical shooter and a serious gaming experience. This game is not really for casual players who might play once in a blue moon. What I mean by that really is once in a week, or even twice in a week. It's for players who will constantly grind and play ranked, which is the true Rainbow Six experience. The more you play, the more map knowledge you gather, the better you get with guns and operators, the better you are at rotations and information gathering. If you don't play the game enough, you just won't get better, and you'll just constantly keep dying and not playing well. I think this game is also good for players with close friends who will play along with them. You only need 5 for a full squad, remember, so it's a great way to work together and improve, and to come up with strategies. It is so rewarding when you and a group of friends pull off great plays or execute really good strategies and tactics. The next part of the video is probably the most important, because I'm going to go over some of the misconceptions that players who haven't got this game might have about this game. And to be honest, some of these misconceptions come from me before I purchased the game. So I'm just going to go over 3 or 4 different things and tell you whether they're true or not and why. So first of all, a lot of people think that this game is purely about camping. And to be honest, this is not strictly true. This game is about information. The attackers have drones, 10 between 5 players. The defenders usually have 7 cameras and lots of information gathering operators who might be able to deploy their own cameras or some sort of gadget that allows them to know where defenders are. A good team will know where the enemy is all the time. Camping might work at first and against low ranks, but as you play the game more, you'll realise that camping one spot for the entire game is rarely productive, and instead, well-timed rotations, which are very different, are the better plays. Oh, and remember, if you do get camped, it is your fault, or your team's fault. You didn't drone properly, or someone on your team did not call out properly. This is not like every other shooter, where people can camp because you just can't possibly find out where they might be. The next misconception that a lot of people have is that you can't actually play this game solo. And to be fair, I did just emphasise how good and fun it is to play as a team. But I have actually improved the most by solo queuing in ranked. You do have to drone more effectively, increase your map knowledge, and pick operators properly. But learning to fend for yourself will benefit you in the long run, as an individual, although it is difficult at first. I have gone from copper 3 to silver 1, as I mentioned at the start of the video, by doing mainly solo ranked. The key is not to worry about your rank at first. Try to communicate with your team by making callouts, but remember you can of course mute any trash talkers. Trust me, solo queuing is viable. Most of the footage you're seeing here today is from solo ranked. The next misconception that a lot of people have is that the game is simply too hard, and sort of following on from that point, it's been out for so long that established players will make it impossible for newer players. Well, the thing with this game is new players are joining all the time, and there is a matchmaking process in place on both casual and ranked. If you do play against or with better players, it's actually a good way of learning about which angles to hold, which rotations to make, and where to roam on the map, amongst other things, so it can actually be a good thing. The next misconception, and this is one that really I had before buying the game, is that because it's very small scale, so 5 versus 5, quite short matches and only I think 3 game modes, the game would quickly get boring. This just no guys, no. There are loads of operators, loads of detailed maps which take ages to learn, loads of different guns and attachments, even more gadgets, and this keeps things very fresh. Every round feels different. Every round has different sites which you have to defend or attack, which means you have to come up with lots of different strategies. So I don't know how many maps there are actually. I probably should have done that bit of research, but there's lots of maps, but you can probably actually times that number by 4 because each map usually has 3 or 4 different sites. So no, this game does not get boring. I can tell you that for certain. I've got bored more quickly of other games like Fortnite, Battlefield, Call of Duty far more quickly than I've got bored of this. By the way, I'm not hating on those games, especially Fortnite because I play that game a lot. I'm just trying to emphasise the point that this has not got boring for me so far. Lastly, the final misconception that people have is that the game was overly toxic, like always toxic. I can't defend casual at the moment because it is toxic a lot, but in ranked it's completely different. Players generally want to win and want to preserve their rank. You will get people trash talk you if you do something bad. Fine, mute them. That's their problem. But just remember, there is always that one guy who will join a ranked game just to team kill. But once he does it once, he usually can't do it again, or otherwise he'll get immediately kicked. So yeah, ranked is the way to go there. Overall then, this is a truly brilliant game that has me absolutely hooked. If you are after something new or different, I could not recommend Rainbow Six Siege more. I am, as I said at the start of the video, going to release some live footage of me playing this game at a later date, just to offer some tips and tricks from the perspective of a newer player who is going up the ranks at the moment. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please let me know what you think by commenting, and maybe if you disagree with something, please let me know. Please also like and subscribe if you want to see more of this content in the future.
Secure the biohazard container. 1 Op 4 remaining. Nice work. Biohazard container secured.